So as of right now, the way that I see it is as long as we're above 9,700, we are not creating any significant lower lows, and the bulls still have a chance to keep the momentum here in the short to medium term. If we fall below 9,700, then the bulls will lose the momentum in the short to medium term, and we'd be looking to test closer to the previous support resistance here at 9,090-100, which is also going to be a test of the 21-week EMA. But overall, from a long-term perspective, I am absolutely not worried about this dip, guys. I'm not really concerned at all. I do think that Bitcoin is looking extremely bullish here. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Svenson, and today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin is seeing a pullback right now. We recently just tested $9,750 on Coinbase. Across the board, all the top cryptos are seeing a nosedive. Most cryptos are down a large percent today. So some of these top cryptos are seeing really strong pullbacks right now. And of course, everybody's probably worried. Your portfolio values have dumped this morning. Guys, this is all very normal activity. If you're a crypto veteran out there, you know that this stuff happens all the time. And I just want to talk about why this move is really insignificant and why we should all be keeping our eye on the big picture. And before we get started, guys, the platform that you see me use in all of my videos is the CryptoWatch platform. It is the only platform that I need to use for charting and trading. Definitely click that link below, create an account, and also check out my tutorials. Now let's get started on the Bitcoin analysis. Looking at the daily chart, we can see that we did get higher highs on price and we did get lower highs on the RSI. So this bearish divergence did play out and we did see a dump today. Looking at the 12-hour chart for Bitcoin, overall, this uptrend is still looking pretty good. The only thing that I'm now a little bit concerned about is that Bitcoin is starting to see horizontal lows, right? So we're starting to see horizontal lows for Bitcoin, which means that the bulls are losing a little bit of steam. We trended above the rising wedge pattern, came back to support, trended above it again, found support along the rising wedge, and now we've dumped straight through this pattern to the downside, finding horizontal lows here. Looking at the daily chart again, if Bitcoin can hold above 9,700, then things could still remain bullish for Bitcoin, and we continue this uptrend and just create a higher low at this point. But if we do break below 9,700, then we definitely have to discuss some downside targets. Now, in my last video, we were talking about the 21-week EMA as a key support target and a key buy zone for the bulls. If Bitcoin breaks below 9,700 and we begin to trend down going into the next week, well, I do think that 9,100 could be that next support target for the bulls, the next area to put in some good support for the long term and continue up. Overall, I do think the bulls hold the most momentum right now. I do think that any major dips on the weekly chart are most likely going to be bought up by the bulls. And if we go from swing low here at 6,430 to swing high here at 10,500, that dip would be bought up most likely at the 21-week EMA just above the 382 fib retracement. So the target that I have to the downside, if we are going to break below 9,700, would be about $9,100, which would be coming in closer to the 21-week EMA, just above the 382 fib retracement. In this type of bearish scenario that I'm discussing right now, which doesn't have to happen, but if it does, even if we break below 9,700, as long as we bounce off the 21-week EMA, I think the bulls are still in control. The bulls still have the momentum here. In my opinion, I think that's probably the most bearish we're going to get for Bitcoin right now, is to probably hit the 21-week EMA and bounce. If we start to break below the 21-week EMA, then that would be actually a little bit concerning for me going into the halving. We would be seeing a significant pullback for Bitcoin. We would be wiping out a lot of these gains going into the halving, and that would be a bit concerning at that point. Now, looking at the 12-hour chart again, as of right now, we're still holding above 9,700, right? So we are still above this previous resistance and this previous support here at 9,700, right? So if we maintain this area and we just kind of trade sideways maybe and just get bought back up by the bulls and the bulls maintain their momentum here and we can continue up, well, at that point, then it's possible that we would be looking at the scenario that I discussed in my last video, where Bitcoin would more likely be looking to test up to higher levels, 12, 13,000, before getting a pullback to the 21-week EMA at these current levels and then getting a bounce there, right? This is also another scenario I've been thinking about, that Bitcoin, if we remain bullish, could actually be looking to test up to 12, 13,000 and then pull back to these current levels and hit the 21-week EMA. Because as we discussed in the last video, the 21-week EMA is historically a very significant support indicator, right? And generally we hold above it during bull markets. So if Bitcoin is going to remain bullish, I do think that we're going to be using the 21-week EMA as a main support area. If you guys haven't seen my last video, definitely check out my last video that I posted on this channel. It discusses this a little bit more in detail. So as of right now, the way that I see it is as long as we're above 9,700, we are not creating any significant lower lows, and the bulls still have a chance to keep the momentum here in the short to medium term. If we fall below 9,700, then the bulls will lose the momentum in the short to medium term, and we'd be looking to test closer to the previous support resistance here at 9,090-100, which is also going to be a test of the 21-week EMA. But overall, from a long-term perspective, I am absolutely not worried about this dip, guys. I'm not really concerned at all. I do think that Bitcoin is looking extremely bullish here. And if you guys are familiar with my halving analysis, you know, the price action that I believe is going to take place going into the halving, then you guys should know that Bitcoin is actually perfectly on track right now. Despite the little dip we had today, Bitcoin is actually still perfectly on track in the long term to remain bullish going into the halving. As you guys should know by now, we have two parabolic advances and a break of the all-time high in the first halving cycle. In the second halving cycle, we have two parabolic advances and a break of the all-time high. And in the third halving cycle right now, we are sitting on one parabolic advance, right? And things are looking quite good. As long as we're remaining above this upward sloping trend line, as we have in all the other halving cycles, then things look pretty good. And right now I'm looking out for the 21-week EMA, whether we pull back to it now or we pull back to it after a continued run. It doesn't really concern me as long as we're remaining above the 21-week EMA. And as a last resort, as long as we're holding above this upward sloping trend line right here, then things are overall still bullish for Bitcoin. Preferably from a bullish standpoint, holding above the 21-week EMA would be the ideal scenario here. But just keep in mind that this short-term parabolic trajectory has been broken, right? If you look at the 12-hour, this short-term parabolic move has been broken, and we are seeing horizontal lows at 9,700, now 9,750. And, you know, that does mean that the bears could gain momentum in the short to medium term here. Totally possible. If we hold above 9,700, I'm not too worried. If we break below 9,700, then I'd be looking for a test of the 21-week EMA at around 9,100. So that's going to be it for me today, guys. I hope this video helped you. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to sign up with the CryptoWatch platform by clicking that link below. And if you guys want to support the channel further, definitely join the Patreon. We're actually building an altcoin portfolio in Patreon where we're going to be investing $10,000 into various altcoins going into the next potential bull phase. So if you guys are interested in something like that, definitely join the Patreon, and I will see you guys in the next video.